Let's get to Brooklyn right now. And look, to me, they're a contender. I know that we have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the roster. But, I mean, if Kyrie wants to play, Jeff, and KD obviously is ready to go, if Kyrie's head is on the floor, I say look out.
Yeah, I'm told by my sources that Ben Simmons, as of now, the plan is for him to play game one, which very well could be where, Bob?
Oh.
Game one of their first round series, not playing. Where will that be?
Here
in Boston.
Boston.
How about that? Kyrie having to exercise a couple demons against Cleveland and then potentially Boston. Ben Simmons returning, playing his first game this season in Boston. And I won't be able to be there because I haven't seen my parents for about 3.5 months. They've been down in Florida, and I'm going down to see them this weekend down the Cape. So I will watch it on TV.
Yeah, well, I'm into baseball this weekend too, so I'll be going to ballpark on Friday and Sunday. Not Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Monday. But anyway, Ben Simmons thing. It's just more ever increasing intrigue about with that team. I mean, absolutely. First of all, you're right. The nightly over under for Durant and Irving, I'm fixing right now at 70. That's the over under.
Probably right.
Okay. There you go.
So how do we feel about
Kyrie?
But how do we feel about
question,
Gary?
Huh? Gary, Kyrie, the one thing with Kyrie, right? Like he's up, down, all around. You don't know what Kyrie you're going to get necessarily. Do you trust him when it comes to like coming to Boston with everything on the line? He'll get booed. He's been booed here before this year, obviously. Do you trust his mental makeup? Or do you think he'll be more motivated and go off against the Celtics?
The latter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bob, go ahead. I'm worried.
No, he's going to be a real threat. Let's just forget all that. Just analyze him as a ball player and forget about the personality. There are people who categorically say that he is the greatest finisher at his size in the history of the game. Period. That he goes to the basket.
What say you? What say you, Bob?
I never seen anybody better at that size. I was saying the same thing about it. The Isaiah Thomas at his size. He remains the most amazing thing at his size that I've ever seen getting to the basket. But when Kyrie's gone to the basket, it is a breathtaking event. He's amazing. His ambidexterity, his body control, his inventiveness, everything is just
his handle is crazy to get there.
He is the fastest. He is the fastest, quickest, slipperiest. Mm-hmm. He goes into a crowd and he comes out. I'm like, how did that happen?
I mean, I'll tell you. I'm sorry, Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was another one for me, but it's a little bit different here. But I don't want to discount him. He's right up in that category, and they're about the same size.
So here's my thing, Jeff. To answer your question, it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think Kyrie has to be where Bob says he's going to be, though. If I had to choose, I agree with Bob. I think he has to be good enough, because if you look at Kevin Durant, and I thought Durant in the last playoffs, when Kyrie was out, Harden was not himself. It was just all KD. I thought KD's performance was exemplary. I thought it was balls. So you bring that into 70% Kyrie, I think it's good enough to win in Boston. It could be. Because I don't want to take anything away from the Celtics. But
they don't have Robert Williams. They're not going to have Robert Williams.
Right.
And that, I don't think enough people are talking about that. I feel you're taking away arguably their most important defensive player in a game where they're going to need him. Like in a series, they're going to need him, right? We talk about Kyrie and his ability to get to the basket and finish through contact, around contact, whatever. But you talk about Kevin Durant and his ability to his first step and get there, and his length and athleticism and ability. Obviously, we know he can shoot it from three, but beyond that, he can put it on the floor. And if you have Al Horford and Daniel Tice down there, let's face it, that's a little bit different. That's a lot different.
Luke Cornett, but then I'm being a smart ass here. I you know how I feel. I've gone from real excitement and enthusiasm to okay, let's see what happens. I'll live with it. If they don't progress without Robert Williams, I mean, it's a major thing. Yeah. Now they had some pretty good games, without him against the the inferior competition. There's no question. They still kicked a lot of asses without him. But not in this level now.
Not with two of the top 10 players in the game on the other side.
Okay, so to focus on Brooklyn, so Simmons, how does that? Jeff, you're you have the most knowledge of him, and you're the Simmons guy. So how does that all work?
Well, I mean, again, it probably depends on how much he's been able to practice with the team at this point, and how comfortable. To me, you're not going to ask him to do too much early, right? You give him 10, 15 minutes game one if you can, and you just make him facilitate and defend. And if his body's up to it, well, that's probably all you'll need. Again, in this series without Robert Williams, I feel like push the ball. If he's got his athleticism and his back is healthy, he can push it. He can just give it to Kyrie and KD and finish when he needs to. But, the days of saying, hey, Ben Simmons has to shoot the ball, they're gone with Kyrie and KD around him. They don't need that. They don't need that from him. Defend, push it, and facilitate. And if you can do that for 22 minutes a game by the end of that series, and then ramp it up and maybe play 25 minutes a game in the next series, it's fine, because he doesn't have to have the ball. He needed the ball in his hands at the end of the game for Philly. Well, he doesn't need – the ball is not going to be in his hands, because it's going to be in KD or Kyrie's hands. He's never going to see the ball in the final 2 minutes. He may not even be on the floor.
He may not be on the floor. But, yeah, I mean, I know how you feel. His defense is where he can be the most service to them, and they need it. That their defense is substandard. If they don't improve their defense, they're not going to go very far.